Have you ever made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for something, but never thought that it would actually come into fruition, but it did? Join me as we embark on a journey to understand Zakariyya alayhi salam's story and Maryam alayhi salam's story when he prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a righteous child and Allah granted him this. Zakariyya alayhi salam spent many years not having children, and he went into his old age. And as many of you can imagine, this can be quite difficult for a lot of people. So one day he walked into a room where Maryam alayhi salam was, as she used to be within his sanctuary, and he finds food which is not from that season. So some provisions which actually cannot be found in that season. And then he asked her, where did you get this food from? How did you get this? And she said, this is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Zakariyya alayhi salam, the righteous person that he was, he knew that this was an opportunity for him to pray to Allah and ask for a special dua, and Allah may accept it within this time. So he prayed for a righteous son. A couple of months later, as you can imagine, Zakariyya alayhi salam had a son, Yahya alayhi salam, who also became a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But one thing, similar to how we are, Zakariyya alayhi salam, he didn't feel like this would be coming into fruition. He thought, how could this be when I'm at such an old age? He was kind of thinking that it may not come into play. So he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a sign. And part of that sign was for him to fast for 3 days and not speak to anybody. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him the sign. So there's a couple of lessons that we take away from this story of Zakariyya alayhi salam. Number one is we should always have absolute conviction in the fact that Allah, He knows best and He'll give things at the right time. Ramadan is a blessed time, so we should try and make the most of this time and make as much dua as we can. And have the conviction that irrespective of anything, even if we feel like it's going to be impossible, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can still make it happen for us.